So, welcome to Business and Management at Aberystwyth Business School. My name is Hugh Preston. I'm a senior lecturer in the Business School, and I'm also responsible for overview of business and management schemes. I'm going to run through some aspects of that now so you can get the shape of the programs and where you feel your interests might lie in relation to them. What I'll be saying is a brief overview, obviously. Some of the quality indicators of the university, you'll be aware of some of those already. The website makes the point about that very frequently. The typical degree structure, how are the degrees structured, what do they look like, how they're organised. Something to do with business and management degree overview. Well, what would you study? Which modules would be involved in it? How do they contribute to an understanding of the business and management world in which we operate? And graduate employment, where would you go next? What options are there next? Okay, well, first of all, the quality indicators. As I say, you've probably seen a lot of these already. Aberystwyth is top in Wales for overall student satisfaction, a major achievement, but equally an achievement is in the top 10 for England and Wales combined for overall student satisfaction. People who come to Aberystwyth to study are very satisfied with their studies. So in other words, by viewing this video, you've come to the right place. The business school itself achieved the satisfaction level of 90% in the National Student Survey. Well, that's a significant achievement, well above the average for the UK, and business and management within the business school was individually ranked 9th of all business schools in the UK. There are over 100 of those. There are some little images relating to some of the points. These points I've already mentioned. The Sunday Times Good University Guide as well, and the TEF Teaching Excellence Framework. The gold standard achieved for that, and then some other awards from What Uni, student-based awards. Right, your motivation to study business and management. You've got to be taken seriously in the graduate marketplace. It's a very competitive marketplace. So it's our job to ensure that we support you in your studies, we provide relevant work experience where you wish it to happen, and that there's some element of extracurricular development, internships, the Year in Employment Scheme, I'll say a bit more about that in a minute, international student exchange, typically the Erasmus programme. Our business school is very keen that when you graduate you have competencies that employers appreciate. You're not just there with a qualification that says you've studied certain modules, you've done nicely in them, and therefore you're good in some academic subject areas. It has to be more than that. It also has to be ability to carry out the types of employment that the large, small employers require, or setting up your own business indeed. So it needs complex problem solving, it needs critical thinking, thinking about one aspect of business from one perspective and also from other perspectives to determine which way is best to go. Creativity and innovation, very much areas where a competitive market, it's important to have those skills. And people management, being able to relate to people, the EQ as it's sometimes known, emotional quotient. That's why the business school, by providing those competencies, has 90% employability. That means the graduate level employment or further study within 6 months of graduating. That's 8% above business school national averages in the UK. So a significant achievement in its own right. So another good motivation. Right, what does the degree structure look like? If you're studying for the BSc honours degree over 3 years, then the first year constitutes, often known as part 1, the means to progress to part 2. The results for your study on modules do not count towards your final degree classification, but you have to pass a certain proportion of them in order to make that progress to part two, the second and final years. In other words, you've got a solid foundation. You know the basics. You've taken those basics and already looked at them in a more developed form, and you're now ready then to move on to part two in your second year. So second and third years, or final years as it's often called, both years contribute towards your degree classification. In other words, it's composite results from those 2 years. We often say the year in employment scheme is a good idea. At the end of your second year, you have the opportunity to take a year studying in employment. That's separate from your studies. You'd come back after that to study for your final year. But between your second and third year, you can take a year with approved employers that the university has on its list. Working for them, we need to be certain that those employers offer good, solid internships, which is why those particular employers are chosen. They're chosen from all over the UK. Then there is the 4-year with foundation year scheme. This is where students with non-standard entry qualifications start at year zero, as it's known, and that first year, year zero, is intended to take them forward to the first year of the full degree scheme. So it's obviously introducing some topics with which maybe you'd have no familiarity, taking those ideas to a state whereby you can understand them and study them further in the first year of the full degree scheme. And then, as I've mentioned there, the points there in relation to years 1, 2, 3. Degree scheme structures. The modular system applies at Aberystwyth, as it does at most universities throughout the UK. In other words, the schemes are broken down into modules, most of them typically worth 20 credits, and you take 120 credits of modules per academic year. So that's typically 6 modules. Some modules are core. In other words, you are required to take them because they're very fundamental to the subject area. Some are elective. In other words, you select ones in which you think you have a particular interest. To look at the current structure for the schemes, the first year, data analytics. We live in an increasingly technological driven world, so data analytics is important, the ability to handle information as a resource. Fundamentals of accounting and finance. Even if you're not intending to be an accountant, nevertheless, understanding the principles of accounting and finance at a basic level is important. After all, you'll be presented with some of the accounting tools in the real world. Business and management, fundamentals of management and business, that's obviously key to studying business management, and therefore that underlies a lot of the principles, a lot of the background to what we believe as, understand as being business and management now. Marketing, obviously an important component of anything an organisation does, whether it is explicit in its marketing activities or not, but the principles and where marketing is going now, the contemporary practice. Understanding the economy, again, you don't have to be an economist to know that you need a basic understanding of how the economy works. That's whether that be regional, whether that be national, whether that be international, particularly in the global environments we come across these days. The second year, this is where module results start to contribute to degree results. The core modules are those 3 there, 60 credits worth of core, corporate governance, risk and ethics, increasingly popular, increasingly important subject area. Organisations must ensure that the perspective that public has, their markets have, governments have, is are fair, and that take into account the efforts of those organisations to be corporate citizens, as it's often termed. Looking at risk, looking at business ethics as well. Human resource management, yes, a very fundamental topic within business and management. How do you ensure that that resource, more important than any other physical resource, more important in buildings, more important than engineering, how do you ensure that those people are using those other resources most effectively and you are supporting them? Marketing management, moving on from principles of marketing, how do you actually manage marketing activities? Core modules, those are the 60 core credits for core modules. The option modules, you then choose 60 credits from these. The strategic business and operational resilience is 40 credits. In other words, how do you ensure that business models work and continue working? Entrepreneurship and new venture creation, well, yeah, the new businesses. What about individuals who wish to start up businesses? What about small businesses looking to grow? What about businesses that have started in one particular sector and now wish to move into something completely different? With the current health crisis, we've seen a lot of businesses that have had to think differently, be creative, think innovatively. Operations and supply chain management, not just keeping the cogs ticking, but also where do you go from with that? How do you ensure that your supply chain is solid? How do you ensure that it has variety in it? What are the degree schemes in business and management? There is a single honours scheme that's just called business and management. Then there's the version with the foundation year. There's a new scheme called business and climate change. That module draws on modules from various departments of the university, such as the Institute of Biological and Environmental Research and the Geography, Institute of Geographical and Earth Studies, Creative Writing, English and Creative Writing School, etc. Joint honours, a lot of those are in relation to foreign languages, studying alongside business and management, and then others from within the business school, as well as law, mathematics and psychology. So you can study business and management, but combine it with something of other interest to you. What have I been talking about? I've been talking about quality indicators. As I said, viewing this, you are in the right place. You'll be taught in a world-class teaching environment. Of course, what we don't know yet is whether that will be a return to full-time on-campus teaching, or whether it will be blended in some way between on-campus and online, dependent on the guidance that we have in the future regarding health and safety. Employability, as I mentioned, 97% graduate employability, 89% is the UK business school average. So I hope you found that useful and that you will think carefully about studying at Aberystwyth Business School alongside your interest that you may well have in other universities, but certainly I feel that at Aberystwyth you will gain a high quality experience and a high level of student satisfaction. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.